Yo, what's good, boys? It's Yap MMA. We're back with another video. Today, we're going to be talking about the top 15 of flyweight. We're going to be re-ranking the top 15 of flyweight because out of every single division in the UFC, the flyweight top 15 has to be the rankings that are the most fucked in the UFC. They keep messing it up every single week, every single time that there is a flyweight matchup in the rankings, and there's a winner, there's a loser. They mess up the rankings completely. There's a bajillion things I would change in the rankings, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to do that today. Before we go ahead and get into it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's start it off with the top 15 of Uncle Tim Elliott. What is Uncle Tim Elliott still doing so high up in the flyweight rankings? 39 years old, super inactive, hasn't fought in a year and a half. He's 39 years old. He's not getting any younger. All right, he's not getting any younger. The only reason he's boosted so high up in the rankings is because he beat Tagir Ulanbekov. They're not going to put Tagir over Tim Elliott because Tim Elliott beat him. I get it, but you can't keep a 39-year-old inactive Tim Elliott hogging a spot in the rankings at flyweight, man. At 39 years old in a division that is you need to be the youngest in this division. You need to be speedy, you need to be athletic, you need to be, constantly growing and getting better as a fighter. And this dude is 39 years old, nearing the end of his career. He's 21-13. He's coming off of a good win over Suma Dwarji, but you can't really rate that win. You know, he is hogging a spot in the rankings. If he's so high up in the rankings, it just the entirety of flyweight's already cooked. So I'm bumping his ass down to 15. All right, I'm not gonna kick him out of the rankings. I think Tim Elliott is still a guy who's there. Don't get me wrong, but he's nearing the end of his career. He's 39 years old. Is he even gonna fight again? We don't know. We don't know. We have heard nothing about Tim Elliott when he's coming back. If he's got any fight, any fight matchups that are potentially gonna happen anytime soon. We don't know anything about Tim Elliott. We don't know what he's doing. And so this guy shouldn't be this high up in the rankings. So I'm bumping him down to 15. And with him at 15, man, I am going to be putting Kai Asakura. I don't know how Kai Asakura is ranked number 14 right now. Honestly, I get it. He was Rising champ, comes to the UFC, fights Pantoja, gets subbed in 2 rounds. Pantoja is the best of the best, all right? Don't get me wrong, but Kaya Sakura should not be above those guys who are number 15, all right? I'm bumping him down to number 15. He had a decent fight with Pantoja. It was fun, but there was just really a huge difference in the gap, huge difference in the skill gap, and especially with the ground game. I mean, Kaya Sakura is not used to an insane amount of wrestling and submission attempts and all this stuff. He's a great striker, don't get me wrong. He's fun, but he's not really going to be able to hang with a lot of these guys who can wrestle, who can take you down, who can look for submissions. I mean, Pantoja got that submission real easy. I know he's really good, but Kaya Sakura struggled. So I'm just bumping him down 1 to 15. I think Kaya Sakura is still good. I think he can still make fun fights. You can make a lot of fun fights with Kaya Sakura. I mean, I know people would love to see Asakura versus Manel Cap in the UFC. They fought in Ryzen in the UFC. That would be a great matchup to make eventually. Just we need to make some fun matchups for Asakura. He got a shot at the title. I don't think he's going to get another shot. So now let's just build some nice, fun striking matchups with Kai Asakura. It makes sense. Keep him in the rankings, really low in the rankings, and just give him a nice striking matchup in the rankings. Come on, man. So we move on to the next. At number 14, I got Alex Perez. All right, this is same thing. All right. Alex Perez is not getting any younger. He is 4-1 in his last 5, and his last win is a knockout win over Matthew Nicolau, who is no longer in the UFC, got booted out of the UFC after losing to Asu Almabayev. All right, so Alex Perez's last win basically means nothing. I'm not going to say it means nothing. It was a nice knockout, but Matthew Nicolau had been on the downfall since he got knocked out by Brandon Royval. Okay, so you can't highly rate that win for Alex Perez. Like I said, he's 4-1. He's got to be moved down. So I'm putting him down at 14. I mean, it just makes sense. He just lost to Tatsuro Taira. He really injured himself. I think he pulled something in his leg or something like that. And that was decently long ago. I mean, June 15th, 2024. So we're gonna be coming up on a year in a couple of months. We'll see if we're gonna get him back, but if not, I mean, he just shouldn't be that high in the rankings. He shouldn't be in the top 10. I'm sorry, but Alex Perez should not be in the top 10 in 2025. So I'm putting him down at number 14. We move on to the next though. We got Joshua Van. This is good, man. I think Joshua Van deserving of the 13 spot. He's fighting soon. He's very active, super active in 2025. or in 2024. He's going to be active in 2025. He lost to Charles Johnson, but he had a bounce back win, a great win against Cody Durden, pieced him up on the feet. I mean, Joshua Van's boxing, his striking is great. He's super young, only going to get better. He's a great prospect to look out for, even though he lost to Charles Johnson. He's still going to be getting better. And I think, honestly, that's a good thing to see him lose. I think from that loss, he's going to be able to learn from his mistakes and just get better, man. So I think Joshua Van's great, number 13 ranked. He's fighting an unranked guy soon in Surya. You know, that'll be a good fight. I think Joshua Van wins, and I think he's going to continue slowly rising up the rankings, especially in 2025 if he stays active, which he's been active. He's stayed active in 2024, and I think 2025 won't be any different. So makes sense. Have him at 13. Then we move on to number 12. We've got Charles Johnson. I mean, Charles Johnson beat Joshua Van. Fair win. Great knockout by Charles Johnson. He's coming off that loss to Ramazan Temirov. It was very close. Charles Johnson was slowly getting more comfortable. He was slowly getting more comfortable as the fight went on. But Temirov throwing bombs in round 1, round 2. Yeah, it is what it is. Charles Johnson will bounce back. He had 4 wins in 2024. He's deserving of the spot at number 12. But we will move on to the guy above him, Bruno Silva. I gave this guy a bit of a boost up. He's at number 11. All right. He did lose pretty badly to Manel Cap. Don't get me wrong. But Bruno Silva is a finisher in flyweight. Finished most of his fights, almost all of his fights in flyweight. He's very dominant when it comes to striking, for the most part, striking, and he can wrestle. He's very, very dominant. He had a great win over Cody Durden, knocked him out. Beautiful uppercut. I mean, he was on a good streak. Manel Cap just styled on him, though. Manel Cap is different. He is different on the feet. So Bruno Silva struggled. Obviously, there was some controversial groin shots, man. There's been just controversial stuff when it comes to Manel Cap, man. So it's tough, but I moved Bruno Silva up a little bit. I think he's still good. I think he'll beat a lot of the lower ranked guys. I don't see him ever contending for the belt, but I think he's a good mid-range, and he's very exciting as well. He's fun. He finishes fights. That's what you want to see at flyweight. That's what you want in the rankings. So we will move on to the next. Well, what are we at? Number 10 now? Yeah, ranked number 10. I got Ramazan Temirov. All right. Don't get me wrong. It's a bit early to have Temirov at number 10, but after that win over Charles Johnson, I do see a path where Ramazan Temirov can get stuff going in flyweight, and I can see him boosting into that top 5 position if he can get better cardio. He was gassing out at the end of the Johnson fight. Of course, he hasn't really gone the distance, and that's the thing with Ramazan Temirov. That's what makes him fun. Is he's got, I think, 10 first-round finishes. 10 first-round finishes at flyweight. I might even be mistaken. I think he might even have more. I mean, Ramazan Temirov has a bunch of first-round finishes, a lot of finishes at flyweight in the first and second round. All right, Ramazan Temirov rarely sees the third. Once he connects on you, you usually go down, man. I mean, he's a little bowling ball. He's a little just ball of straight power. He was clipping Johnson in their fight. He was hitting him hard. I mean, Johnson survived those shots, but he got dropped a couple times. Ramazan Temirov has serious power at flyweight. Serious power at flyweight. Of course, he's only got 2 fights in the UFC. Knocked out CJ Vergara in round 1. Just went the distance with Johnson. I just see this guy having a good future and being able to finish guys at flyweight. Like, I could see a fight versus Ramazan Temirov and Kai Kara-France being a fun fight. I can see that being an entertaining fight that people would get hyped about. You know what I mean? Like a finishing fight, like a knockout kind of fight at flyweight. That's what we need. That's what we're excited for. Ramazan Temirov will bring that. He was throwing hands with Johnson. I mean, he was winging bombs, like knockout shots every single minute. For the first 10 minutes at least. The last round he was gassing out, don't get me wrong, but he was just putting everything into his punches, and that's exciting. That's fun. That's what you want in the top 10. So I got Ramazan at 10. We move on. Number 9, I got Steve Erceg. All right. He's number 8 right now. I think he should be number 9. I can't really put him lower. All right. I don't think he deserves to be fighting Moreno soon. Don't get me wrong. It just doesn't make sense. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. He fought Pantoja. He fought Pantoja when he was ranked 10. That was not really a deserved title shot, but he got it. He was 3-0 in the UFC. His first 3 wins weren't bad, don't get me wrong, but I think he chins, what's his name? He chinned Matt. Oh my goodness, Matt Schnell. He chinned Schnell, and that got him the title shot. I mean, obviously it was because Pantoja cleared out most of the division, and there was just like flyweight's just cooked, man. UFC has not been dealing with flyweight well. Anyways, Urseg is at 8. I'm butting him down to 9, man. You know, he just got flatlined by Kai Kara France, and it was bad. It was bad. And now they're giving him Moreno, a guy ranked above Kai Kara France. It just doesn't make sense, UFC. It just doesn't make sense. The fights to make were obvious. The matchups to make were obvious. You were supposed to do Manel Cap versus Brandon Royval. Okay, Royval injured himself. He got a concussion. Then you do Manel Cap versus Brandon Moreno. Okay, makes sense. And then you do Steve Urseg versus Asu Almabayev instead of doing Almabayev versus Manel Cap. It just doesn't make sense, UFC. This is the problem. They keep fucking up the rankings. They fuck up the matchmaking at flyweight. Flyweight is a good division. Flyweight is not a bad division, all right? It's a fun, flashy division. You don't have a bunch of knockouts, but they're technical fights, and they're fun. But we have the UFC just constantly fucking up the matchmaking, so it's hard to get hype behind the UFC flyweight fight when you got the number 8 ranked Steve Urseg fighting the number 2 ranked Brandon Moreno. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. After he's on a 2-fight losing streak, it doesn't make sense, man. So I'm butting him down to 9. Steve Urseg, I hope he has a decent chance against Moreno. I don't think he does. I think Moreno schools him on the feet and on the ground if it doesn't go to the ground, but we'll see what happens, man. We will see what happens. We move on to number 8. I still got Asu Almabayev above Steve Urseg. He got booted below Steve Urseg after losing to Manel Cap, but I'm sorry. I need to put Asu above him, man. I need to. The illegal eye shots from Manel Cap, I just can't. I can't, bro. Manel Cap, don't get me wrong. He's dirty. He is dirty. All right. He scratched Asu Almabayev's eyes at least twice. At least twice. And if you haven't seen yet, go try to find the pictures, man, of his eye all bloodied. It's just like back to back main events with eye pokes. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. UFC needs to fix the gloves. But as besides the fact, Asu Almabayev was undefeated in the UFC, loses to Manel Cap on short notice by eye poke TKO. Okay, it's just I'm gonna put him above Steve Urseg. I think he stays above Steve Urseg. It's deserved still, but we'll see what happens with Asu. I think he should fight down the rankings a bit rather than just keep boosting this guy and making him fight up. But we will see what happens. We move on though to number 7, Tagir Ulanbekov. All right, I'm boosting this guy up a decent margin. I think Tagir should be in the top 10. I think he should be in the top 10. The only thing holding him back is the fact that he lost to freaking Tim Elliott, all right? Tim Elliott. It was a sort of embarrassing loss, okay? But it was a close fight. And since then, Ulanbekov has not lost a fight. He just destroyed Clayton Carpenter, an undefeated up-and-coming prospect at flyweight, all right? Tagir Ulanbekov is a very good wrestler, very good striker. He's able to fight anybody, anywhere, in any different any different sort of position he needs to fight in, man. Tagir Ulanbekov is very well rounded, all right? He's got a good submission game. Doesn't have knockout power, but he's well rounded on the feet as well. And I think he's going to be able to compete against these top 10 dudes. So the fact that Tim Elliott is above him, it enrages me, all right? It enrages me. So we got Tagir Ulanbekov. I boosted him up to 7. I think he'll be fun in the top 10, fighting top 10 guys, fighting contenders. I think it'll be fun. And I think he deserves it. He's on a huge win streak. He's on like a three or 4 fight win streak since he lost that fight to Tim Elliott. And before he lost to Tim Elliott, he was on a win streak as well. He's beat some good guys, so he deserves this spot. We move on though to number 6, Amir Albazi. All right, Amir Albazi. What is this dude doing in the top 5? What is he doing in the top 5? What has Amir Albazi accomplished in the UFC? A split decision over Kai Kara France that was a robbery? It was a robbery. Okay? Amir Albazi robbed Kai Kara France of the split decision, robs him, then gets pieced up by Moreno, and then is still sitting at number 3. No, UFC, no. Boot this guy down to number 6, all right? Amir Albazi, boot him down to number 6. Doesn't deserve it. Shouldn't be in the top 5. He hasn't done anything. And then he gets a huge chance to beat Moreno and just absolutely sells. He absolutely sells. All right, Moreno's Of course, Moreno is high level, but Amir Albazi did not make the adjustments, did not have the cardio, did not seem ready, gets pieced up. All right, so put him at number 6. I don't want to hear anything about it, man. Amir Albazi, disappointment, just disappointment. We move on. Tatsuro Taira at number 5, man. He stays at number 5. I think he should be number 5. Tatsuro Taira is still a prospect to look out for. All right, I think this dude is still a future contender, a future champion. Tatsuro Taira has still so much to go, so much time. He's young, he's fast. He lost a split decision to Brandon Royval, who's a dog. Brandon Royval is a dog. It was a close fight. Both guys were fighting. This was fight of the night type fight, man. I mean, they were going back and forth. Tatsuro Taira was fighting, and he's a young kid. Young kid, still got a lot of time left in his career, and I think he'll have a bounce back win, a very bounce back win, solid bounce back win. Tatsuro Taira will still be good in the top 5. I think he will be contending for the belt in the next year or two. Honestly, I think Tatsuro Taira still has a solid chance to bounce back, get a good win, and really boost his career, man. I think he's still good. So we move on to number 4, Kai Kara France. Obvious, man. I mean, he just flatlined Steve Urseg. He could be fighting Pantoja soon. I think he's good. He's good at 4. I don't think he should be fighting Pantoja, but it is what it is. They got to do stuff at flyweight. He's the only dude that hasn't really fought Pantoja. So Kai Kara France will probably be booked against Pantoja in June or July. We'll see what happens. But he's good. He just destroyed Urseg, had a very close split decision against Amir Albazi. He won that fight. I don't care what anybody says. He won that fight. All right, it was a robbery. And besides that, he's had some very close losses. He lost badly to Brandon Moreno. He got knocked out, but bounced back. Actually, he didn't even bounce back. Well, I'm going to say he bounced back because he beat Amir Albazi, and then he bounced back with the Urseg fight. So, he kind of deserves the title shot, but I would really like to see Kai Kara France versus Manel Cap. I just know the UFC is not going to do it because they just don't care about flyweight. They don't care about flyweight. They really don't. It's sad. It's genuinely sad. But we will move on to number 3, Manel Cap, man. I mean, this dude's on a roll. He's on a roll. I don't know if he's pumping drugs. I mean, the gyno's there. The acne on his chest is there. Let's be honest, Manel Cap is he's juicing, man. He's juicing, but he's on some other type of worldly flow right now. His striking is beautiful. His takedown defense is amazing. He is on a different kind of roll. Just destroyed and styled on Bruno Silva, then destroyed and styled on Almabayev, man. Asu Almabayev, who's an up-and-coming prospect. Of course, there was controversies in both fights. It's like annoying that there was controversies because you want to praise him for those wins, but there was the groin shot in the Bruno Silva fight, and then the eye pokes in the Almabayev fight, so it's rough. Plus, the gyno is not really helping anything going here, but Manel Cap's still a star, man. He's still a star. Super fun at flyweight. Finishes fights. His striking is fun. The Makayev fight, that definitely slowed the roll. It definitely made him look bad. But think about it. Think about if Manel Cap fights for the belt soon, gets the belt. If he beats Pantoja, they're gonna bring Makayev back, go for a rematch. That would be sick. Or just Manel Cap versus Kai Kara France. That's the fight to make. It's the fight to make. The UFC just doesn't care, man. But Manel Cap should be number 3. I genuinely think he should be above Kai Kara France. His back-to-back wins there with the knockouts, his striking, everything just looks super crisp. He's entertaining. He's fun. He talks shit. This is what you need at flyweight. I'm gonna be honest. This is what you need at flyweight. Even with all the controversy that you got going on here, you still need him at flyweight. He's fun. He's entertaining. He finishes fights, man. But we will move on to the next, Brandon Royval. All right, Brandon Royval. I don't think he should be above Moreno. I don't think he should be above Moreno. All right. Now I will explain. Of course, he's coming off that good win over Tyra, and he beat Moreno before. It was by split. Very, very close win. Very close win. All right. But Brandon Royval in his career had lost to Moreno before. He had lost to Moreno before by KO, and then he had also lost to Pantoja by submission and by decision. All right. So I just think Moreno has fought better against these other guys. Honestly, Moreno, he went to very close with Brandon Royval, went to a very close fight with Pantoja, split decision with Pantoja, and he also knocked out Brandon Royval. So it's really iffy. It's really, really iffy. But I'm gonna put Moreno above Royval, but we can't see another Moreno Royval fight. We need something else. So we got Moreno versus Urseg. If Moreno wins that fight, I think he fights for the belt. Honestly, I think you give it to him again. Whatever. I mean, it's just so Flyweight's so cooked because you got Brandon Moreno and Brandon Royval gatekeeping the shit out of the top 5 and gatekeeping the shit out of the title shot. So it's just it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird, but we're going to get past this phase of flyweight. I do believe in flyweight. I believe in the division. There's a lot of prospects. There's a lot of dudes to look out for. And I think it's going to get more fun. I think it's going to get more fun. It's going to get more hype. We need people to get behind flyweight because we don't want this division to just keep getting pushed under the rug, keep getting shit matchups. I mean, we just want matchups that we want. You know what I mean? The community wants matchups that the UFC is not creating, and it's annoying. It's annoying. But of course, we got Pantoja as champ, well-deserved champ, going for GOAT status. I mean, this guy is fighting all the time. He's active. He's fighting anybody that they chuck at him. So they're probably going to give him Kai Kara France. We'll see what happens. But that is my entire re-ranking of the top 15 of flyweight. I did not mean to make this video so long, but if you guys did enjoy the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. As always, drop your comments down below if you guys like my re-ranking or if you guys would switch it up, and I will catch you boys in the next one. See you.